Your mind is your battlefield. Every single thought you don't control controls you. Every emotion you don't master becomes your master. Most people live as slaves. Slaves to fear, to doubt, to distraction. But the rare few, the mentally unbreakable, learn to bend their minds, shape their focus, and dominate their inner world. This audiobook is not motivation, it's mental training. And by the end, you will either command your thoughts or be commanded by them. You wake up every morning with a war already happening inside you. Before your feet even touch the ground, the battle begins. Your phone buzzes. Your thoughts start running. You remember yesterday's mistake, tomorrow's problem, someone's opinion, and without even realizing it, you're reacting. You think you're in control, but you're not. Your mind is. It's pulling you from one emotion to another, from one impulse to the next. That's why most people live exhausted, anxious, and lost. They never learn the first rule of mastery. You either control the mind, or the mind controls you. Let's get something clear. Your mind is not your friend, it's a tool. And like any tool, it can build or it can destroy. But most people never learn how to hold it properly. They let it swing wildly, cutting down focus, discipline, and peace. They think every thought is truth, every feeling is fact, every impulse deserves action. That's not awareness, that's slavery. You have to understand this. Your mind doesn't care about your goals. It cares about comfort. It will tell you to stay in bed when you should rise. It will tell you to check your phone when you should focus. It will whisper, "You deserve a break," right when discipline matters most. And every time you obey it, you weaken it. You train your mind every day, whether you know it or not. Every time you say yes to distraction, your mind learns obedience to weakness. Every time you say no, your mind learns strength. That's how you reprogram it. Not with motivation, not with hype, with repetition. So here's your first real test. Pause. Before you react, pause. Before you speak, pause. Before you scroll, pause. That single moment of awareness, that half-second gap, is the beginning of mastery. Because in that gap, you're no longer your mind. You're the commander giving it orders. That's the key. That's the moment where your power lives. And if you can stretch that gap, if you can catch your thoughts before they take you, you'll see something extraordinary. You'll realize how much of your life was on autopilot. How many decisions weren't made by you but by emotion, impulse, and fear. The truth is, your mind wants control. But you must take it back. How? Through awareness and repetition. When your mind says, "I can't," you say, "Who said that?" When it says, "I'm tired," you say, "Then let's work while tired." When it says, "What if I fail?" you say, "Then I'll learn." You see, you don't have to silence your mind, you have to lead it. You're the commander. The mind is your soldier, and a soldier without direction becomes dangerous. Here's what's really happening every day. You think you're deciding to procrastinate, but your mind decided long before you did. You think you're choosing to overthink, but that loop was programmed by repetition. You think you're anxious, but anxiety is just the mind trying to prepare for imaginary danger. You don't need to destroy your thoughts. You need to direct them. Let's go deeper. The mind loves momentum. Whatever you feed it, it multiplies. Feed it fear, it grows panic. Feed it gratitude, it grows peace. Feed it focus, it grows power. So the question isn't, how do I stop my thoughts? The question is, what thoughts am I feeding? Every time you repeat a complaint, you're teaching your mind to look for more pain. Every time you repeat a positive command, you're teaching it discipline. That's the real training, moment by moment, command by command. Start with this mantra and repeat it until it's tattooed on your consciousness. I control the mind. The mind doesn't control me. Say it in silence. Say it when you're angry. Say it when you're scared. Say it when you want to give up. Because that's when you're building new mental wiring. It's not about perfection. It's about control. It's not about never feeling weak. It's about never obeying weakness. That's the difference between ordinary and unbreakable. Think about the strongest people you've ever known. Soldiers, leaders, creators, survivors. What do they have in common? It's not luck. It's not genius. It's control. When fear screams, they act anyway. When doubt whispers, they move forward. When the mind says stop, they say go. That's mental discipline in action. And here's the truth. It's not natural. It's trained. Every day they choose control over chaos. Every day they choose command over comfort. And that's exactly what you must do. So from this moment forward, I want you to practice one simple ritual. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, pause, close your eyes, and say, I control the mind. The mind doesn't control me. Feel what that means. You are separating your identity from your thoughts. You are the observer, not the noise. You are the master, not the slave. That's the key to freedom, mental separation. Because once you can observe your mind, you can control it. Once you can control it, you can direct it. And once you can direct it, you can change your entire life. Remember this. The mind is powerful, but it's lazy. It wants the easy path, and the easy path always leads to regret. So stop letting your mind run wild. Stop letting it decide who you are. You are not your anxiety. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are the one who commands them. You have a choice. Every thought is a fork in the road, control or chaos. Every reaction is a test, mastery or surrender. You either train the mind or you get trained by it. You either bend it to your will or it bends you to its comfort. That's the truth. And that's why this chapter matters. Because until you take back control of your mind, nothing else works. No success, no peace, no discipline. Everything starts here, with awareness, control, and command. You've learned the foundation. The mind is not the master, it's the servant. Now it's time to train it even deeper. Because once you stop reacting to emotions, you start using them. And that's where real control begins. You mastered awareness. Now, let's turn emotion into power. Chapter 2. Emotion is a signal, not a command. Chapter 2. Emotion is a signal, not a command. You're not weak because you feel. You're weak when you let feelings decide your direction. Strong people feel everything you feel. Anger, sadness, fear, doubt. But they've learned one crucial difference. They don't obey emotions, they interpret them. That's the key. They don't run from emotion, they read it. Because emotion isn't your enemy, it's your signal. It's feedback. It's information. But if you treat emotion like a command, it will destroy your focus. It will make you reactive, impulsive, out of control. Here's the truth. Every emotion your mind produces is a message. Anger means something feels violated. Fear means something feels uncertain. Sadness means something feels lost. But those messages are not instructions. They're alerts, not orders. And the moment you start obeying emotions instead of observing them, you give up your power. Think about it. How many times have you said something in anger that you later regretted? How many times have you quit something because fear whispered, "You're not ready"? How many times have you stayed stuck because sadness convinced you that things will never change? That's emotion acting as a dictator. That's emotion giving you commands, and you obeying them without question. You cannot build strength if you keep following emotional orders, because emotions change. Purpose doesn't. That's the difference between the weak and the strong. Weak people chase feelings. Strong people chase purpose. Say that again. I don't chase feelings. I chase purpose. Your emotions want comfort. Your purpose demands growth, and every day you must choose between the two. When anger rises, the weak explode. The strong pause. They breathe. They ask, "What is this emotion trying to tell me?" Then they act, not out of rage, but with reason. When fear shows up, the weak run. The strong prepare. They use fear as data, as a signal to strengthen the plan. Fear is fuel if you learn how to burn it. When sadness hits, the weak collapse. The strong reflect. They extract wisdom, not weakness. Because sadness is not the end, it's the beginning of awareness. Every emotion you feel is neutral until you give it meaning. It's your interpretation that makes it power or poison. So stop asking, "How do I get rid of these feelings?" And start asking, "What are these feelings trying to show me?" That's the secret to emotional mastery. That's how warriors think. Let's make it practical. Here's how you train emotional control. Step 1. Name it. The moment emotion rises, give it a label. I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling fear. When you name it, you separate it from yourself. You're no longer inside the emotion. You're observing it. That's power. Step 2, question it. Ask, what's this emotion signaling? Is it warning you, challenging you, testing your patience? Every emotion has a hidden message. Decode it before you act. Step 3, redirect it. Once you know the message, use the energy. Turn anger into focus. Turn fear into preparation. Turn sadness into empathy. That's how emotion becomes fuel. You don't control emotion by fighting it. You control it by transforming it. You use it. You bend it. You repurpose it, because emotion is energy, and energy is neutral until directed. That's the key. Emotion is not the problem. Your reaction is. Every emotional outburst, every panic, every meltdown. It's not because emotion is too strong. It's because self-control is too weak. And the only cure for that is awareness and discipline. Understand this. The mind will always produce emotion. That's its nature. But mastery begins when you stop trying to feel better and start trying to behave better. You can't always choose what you feel, but you can always choose what you do with it. That's where freedom lives. Say it with me. I don't chase feelings. I chase purpose. Let it echo in your mind. Let it become your rule. When you wake up tired, when fear whispers, when sadness drains your focus, repeat it. Because purpose outlives emotion. Purpose survives storms. Purpose wins wars. Look at the greatest achievers, leaders, and thinkers. Do you think they felt motivated every day? Do you think they never doubted, never cried, never feared? Of course they did. But they built the discipline to move despite emotion. That's why they stand where others fall. They learn to say, I feel fear, but I move. I feel anger, but I stay calm. I feel tired, but I act. That's mastery. That's the edge. Remember this truth. Emotions are temporary visitors. They come, they go. But purpose is the permanent resident. So stop letting temporary feelings sabotage permanent goals. You can't let a bad morning ruin your mission. You can't let fear cancel your future. You can't let sadness silence your strength. Because the world doesn't care how you feel. It responds to how you act. And how you act is determined by what you choose to follow, emotion or purpose. So, train your mind to pause before you obey. Every time emotion rises, don't run from it. Don't feed it. Study it. Translate it. Use it. That's emotional discipline. That's what separates those who crumble from those who conquer. And when you catch yourself reacting, stop. Take one deep breath. Say it again. I don't chase feelings. I chase purpose. Because purpose keeps you steady when emotion shakes you. Purpose keeps you moving when motivation dies. Purpose is the anchor of the mind. Understand this once and for all. Emotion is not your master. It's your messenger. Your job is not to silence it, but to understand it. When you do, you unlock your true strength, calm power. Because calm power is not the absence of feeling, it's control over it. And that control gives you an advantage over 99% of the world. While they react, you respond. While they panic, you plan. While they feel, you focus. That's how strong minds operate. That's how leaders are made. You've learned how to control emotion. Now it's time to learn how to channel focus, the ultimate weapon of mental warriors. Because emotion without focus is chaos. But emotion with focus? That's unstoppable. You've turned emotion into power. Now let's sharpen that power into precision. Chapter 3. Focus is a weapon. Use it or lose it. Chapter 3. Focus is a weapon. Use it or lose it. Focus is the rarest currency in the modern world. Everyone talks about success, but few can sustain focus long enough to build it. Because focus is not a talent. It's not a gift. It's a discipline. And it's the foundation of every strong mind. You can have intelligence, creativity, even passion, but without focus, it all collapses. Because unfocused energy is wasted energy. That's the truth. In this world, attention is the new form of power. Those who control their focus control their future. Those who lose it become slaves. Slaves to distraction, slaves to entertainment, slaves to noise. The world doesn't want you focused. The world profits when you're distracted. Every app, every notification, every algorithm is designed to hijack your attention, to keep you scrolling, to keep you reacting, to keep you too busy to think. They don't want you still. They don't want you disciplined, because a still mind is dangerous. A focused mind can't be controlled. That's why you have to take your attention back, piece by piece, moment by moment. You must reclaim your mind from the noise. That's the key. That's your real fight. Here's what most people don't understand. Distraction is not harmless. Every time you lose focus, you lose strength. Every time you check your phone mid-task, you train your mind to obey impulses instead of commands. You teach your brain that interruption is normal. And every time you do it, focus becomes harder to rebuild. You think you're multitasking, but you're not. You're just switching your attention so fast that your brain never goes deep enough to master anything. You're training yourself to live on the surface, and surface living creates surface results. But the greats, the truly powerful minds, they live in depth. They understand that focus is not about staring at something. It's about locking your attention so tightly that nothing can break it. They guard their focus like a treasure. They say no to distractions. They isolate when needed. Because they know one truth: focus creates power. Distraction destroys it. That's the mantra. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Focus creates power. Distraction destroys it. So how do you build focus? How do you sharpen the mind in a world built to dull it? You train it just like a muscle. And the training begins with silence. Yes, silence. Because silence is resistance. Silence is rebellion in a world addicted to noise. Start with 10 minutes a day of deep silence. No phone, no music, no talking, no movement. Just sit, breathe, and watch your thoughts. Your mind will panic at first. It will scream for stimulation. It will beg you to escape. Don't. Stay still. This is your workout. This is you teaching the mind to obey. Every minute you hold that silence, you strengthen the mental muscle of focus. Every distraction you resist becomes a rep in your mental gym. That's how you build command. That's how you train your attention to listen. Here's what happens when you practice this consistently. Your awareness sharpens. Your thoughts slow down. Your emotions settle. You stop reacting, and you start observing. And from that stillness comes power. Clear, razor-sharp power. Because when your mind learns to obey in silence, it will obey under stress. When it can stay still in peace, it will stay sharp in chaos. That's the point of the exercise. You're not just sitting quietly. You're rewiring your mind to follow orders. You're proving that you are the master, not the servant. Let's get real. Most people can't focus for 5 minutes straight. They can scroll for hours, but they can't sit alone for 10 minutes without stimulation. They call that boredom. But boredom is not the problem. It's the process. That silence you avoid is where strength grows. That boredom you fear is where creativity is born. And that stillness you run from is where your clarity lives. So train it. Start small. 10 minutes of silence every day. Same time, same place. No excuses. You'll hate it at first. Then you'll crave it. Then you'll need it. That's how mastery feels. When you control your focus, everything changes. You stop reacting to the world, and the world starts reacting to you. You start seeing patterns others miss. You start finishing what others abandon. You start hearing your own voice instead of the noise around you. That's when you become unstoppable. Because focus doesn't just build productivity, and it builds identity. You start to trust yourself. You start to believe that when you set your mind on something, you'll see it through. And that belief, that quiet self-trust, is what creates real confidence. Let's talk about something powerful. The attention economy. Right now, your attention is the most valuable resource on earth. Everyone is fighting to own it. Media, corporations, platforms, influencers. They're buying your focus with distraction, with dopamine, with entertainment, and you're giving it away for free. Stop selling your attention cheap. Stop letting strangers program your focus. Because every moment you give away your attention, you give away your potential. You must become selfish with focus, obsessive about it, protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Here's a reality check. Every great achievement in history, every invention, every masterpiece, every revolution, came from deep focus, not from multitasking, not from checking messages, from isolation, from silence, from obsession. So if you want greatness, you must trade distraction for depth. You must make focus your daily discipline. And that starts with a decision. I own my attention. The world doesn't. Say it again. I own my attention. The world doesn't. That's the boundary that separates masters from mediocrities. Now understand this. Focus is not about doing more. It's about doing less, better. It's about directing all your energy into what truly matters. It's about eliminating the unnecessary until only purpose remains. That's what strong minds do. They don't try to juggle everything. They dominate what matters most. When your focus sharpens, so does your life. When your mind obeys, your results explode. Because energy without direction is chaos, but energy with focus is creation. You've learned to train your attention. You've learned that silence is strength and focus is freedom. But there's another side to this mastery, the structure that makes focus possible. It's not about intensity alone, it's about consistency. And that consistency comes from one principle only, discipline. You've learned to focus your mind. Now it's time to command your habits. Chapter 4. Discipline is freedom in disguise. Discipline. That's the word most people run from, but it's the one that separates the ordinary from the unstoppable. Everyone wants freedom, but very few are willing to earn it. They think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. That's not freedom. That's chaos. Real freedom begins when you train yourself to do what you must, even when you don't feel like it. The truth. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's protection. It's not about saying no to fun. It's about saying yes to power. Discipline creates structure. Structure creates progress. And progress, that's where true freedom lives. Weak minds chase comfort. Strong minds chase consistency. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it costs you everything later. Your potential, your peace, your confidence. Discipline, on the other hand, feels hard in the moment, but it builds everything later. You have to decide which pain you prefer, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One makes you stronger, the other destroys your spirit slowly, quietly, day after day. The lie about freedom. The modern world tells you to follow your feelings. It tells you that you'll be free when you can do anything, anytime. But that kind of freedom leaves you empty. Addicted to dopamine, enslaved by distraction, controlled by impulses. Real freedom? It's waking up early because you chose to. It's sticking to your plan even when no one's watching. It's saying no when everyone else says yes. You don't need motivation. You need consistency. You don't need inspiration, you need instruction. Discipline is that instruction, the invisible hand that keeps your life from falling apart. Comfort kills progress. Routine builds power. Say it again. Comfort kills progress. Routine builds power. The mind rebels against discipline. When you first start being disciplined, your mind will fight you. It will tell you, just skip today. It will whisper, you've done enough. It will try to negotiate. That's when you remind yourself, you are not negotiating with weakness. You are training your mind to obey. Every time you push through resistance, you send a message to your subconscious. I am in charge. That's how mental toughness is built. Not in grand gestures, but in small, daily victories. Do you want to know the real definition of self-respect? It's keeping the promises you make to yourself. That's discipline. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when it's inconvenient, you're building trust with yourself. And when you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. The habit of greatness. People look at disciplined individuals and call them lucky. They don't see the nights of sacrifice, the mornings of commitment, the days of doing the boring work no one applauds. You see, discipline isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. Intensity makes noise. Consistency builds empires. Anyone can work hard for one day. Few can do it every day. And that's the quiet difference between failure and mastery. If you want to build a strong body, you lift every day. If you want to build a strong mind, you say no to comfort every day. Discipline compounds, like interest in a bank account. The more you practice it, the richer your character becomes. Comfort kills progress. Routine builds power. Repeat it until it becomes truth. The price of comfort. Comfort feels good because it asks for nothing, but that's the trap. It gives you pleasure now, then steals your confidence later. Every time you give in to comfort, you send your future self a bill, and one day, that bill comes due. It looks like lost opportunities. It feels like regret. It sounds like, what if I had just kept going? Discipline, on the other hand, makes you pay up front, in effort, focus, and patience. But what it gives back? Peace of mind, strength, freedom. That's the trade the strong make every single day. The silent joy of control. There's a peace that comes when your actions align with your values. When you stop letting emotions dictate your day. When you act with purpose, not impulse. That's discipline. That's control. People who lack discipline live in reaction mode, constantly fixing, explaining, excusing. People with discipline live in command mode, deciding, directing, executing. The difference? The first group needs motivation. The second group has systems. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. And your systems are built by discipline. The boring, repetitive habits that no one sees, but everyone feels. Comfort kills progress. Routine builds power. The daily practice. So how do you build discipline? You start small. You pick one non-negotiable habit. Waking up early, training, journaling, meditating, and you never miss it. Even when it rains. Even when you're tired. Even when you don't feel like it. You show your mind that you mean business. Each act of follow-through becomes a vote for your future self. Each act of consistency becomes a declaration. I run this mind. It doesn't run me. That's how the disciplined live, not with emotion, but with intention. The connection to freedom. Discipline looks restrictive, but it's not. It's the structure that lets you move freely. A musician isn't free to play beautifully until they've mastered the scales. An athlete isn't free to perform until they've mastered the drills. Likewise, you won't be free to live powerfully until you've mastered your own habits. Freedom is not found in doing everything you want. Freedom is found in having the power to not do what destroys you. That's what discipline gives you. Control. And control is the highest form of freedom. Comfort kills progress. Routine builds power. You've learned to master your urges. You've learned to choose structure over chaos. Now it's time to master something even harder. Silence. Because the loudest people often have the weakest control, and the quiet ones, they've learned that silence is strength. Next chapter, the discipline of silence. Learn how silence sharpens your mind, amplifies your awareness, and makes your presence undeniable. Every morning a battle begins. You might not hear it, but it's there, inside your mind. A quiet voice says, just 5 more minutes. You can do it later. You deserve a break. That voice sounds reasonable, but it's not your friend. It's your weakness, and it has only one goal, to keep you soft, safe, and stagnant. Strong people know this truth. Weakness loves negotiation, and the more you talk to it, the stronger it gets. You win by refusing to debate with it. You win by acting, immediately, decisively, consistently. No debate, just discipline. Say it again. No debate, just discipline. The mind loves excuses. Your mind is an expert lawyer. It knows how to defend your comfort. It builds stories that sound smart, logical, and harmless. I'll start tomorrow. I just need motivation. I'm too tired right now. But behind every excuse is fear. Fear of discomfort, fear of effort, fear of failure. You can't outthink that fear. You have to outwork it. Every time you give in, you train your brain to expect comfort. Every time you push through, you train your brain to expect results. You are what you repeatedly negotiate with. If you negotiate with comfort, you become weak. If you negotiate with growth, you become unstoppable. The strongest minds aren't free from weakness. They've just learned not to talk to it. The silent war inside you. There are 2 versions of you. The one that wants comfort and the one that wants greatness. The comfortable self whispers, relax, take it easy, you've done enough. The powerful self says, get up, keep going, you're not done yet. Every day you decide which one wins. And make no mistake, and you're always making that decision even when you pretend not to. Weakness doesn't shout, it whispers, it hides behind logic. It sounds like self-care, but self-care isn't avoiding growth. It's managing energy so you can keep growing. No debate, just discipline. Action kills hesitation. The longer you think, the weaker you become, because hesitation feeds doubt, and doubt feeds inaction. That's why you must move before your mind has time to argue. When your alarm rings, don't think, stand up. When it's time to train, don't plan, start moving. When it's time to work, don't scroll, focus. Action is the only language the mind respects. Every time you act fast, you send a signal, I am in charge. That's how discipline grows, not by thinking, but by doing. No debate, just discipline. The cost of negotiation. Every time you delay what you know you must do, you make weakness stronger. You teach your mind that your word means nothing. You become someone who talks about goals but never meets them. You know what that creates? Self-doubt, guilt, shame. And here's the truth. Guilt doesn't come from failing. It comes from knowing what you should have done and still choosing not to do it. Discipline removes that guilt, because when you do what you said you would, your soul feels clean. You stop overthinking. You stop overcompensating. You simply do. The mind calms when it knows you'll act. No debate, just discipline. The disciplined person's secret. Disciplined people aren't superhuman. They just don't let weakness speak for long. When the voice says, skip the workout, they say, no debate. When it says, sleep in, they say, no debate. When it says, you can't do this, they say, watch me. They don't wait for the perfect mood or the perfect time. They move now, because they know hesitation is the graveyard of progress. The moment you start negotiating, you lose control. The moment you act, you take it back. No debate, just discipline. The power of automation. Discipline becomes effortless when you automate your habits. Stop deciding every day whether you'll do something. Decide once,